Someone wrote audio question mark.
Yeah,
We're live.
We're live. All right, guys. So check this out. This all started this morning when this freaking wise ass. First of all, what's it? Jeff VanNote?
Yeah, you're right. So far,
Jeff VanNote. Is that your real name, or did you make that up?
As far as I know, that's what I've been told.
So you have a name, VanNote.
Yes, sir.
And that's the note. That's the name you're using.
That's what I'm going by.
And really, I mean, this is a guy who invests in real estate. It would be like
I don't invest in real estate. I'm a money guy. I don't even
okay.
like real estate.
Yeah, whose name is VanNote. It would be like a guy like named Larry Steinhouse investing in houses.
Yeah,
I
you're
totally
right.
get it.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So sure enough, so this morning, wait, let me see if I can find this post because I need to tell you how this all started this morning with this guy who thinks he knows more about real estate than I do.
Well, it actually started last night. You were probably sleeping by the time I posted it at like 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. And here we were this morning. I woke up, came out of the gym. I've been up since 5 o'clock, and all of a sudden I saw a comment of a qualified opponent.
Oh, so yeah. You mean when I got up this morning, before I got up and ran 2.5 miles?
Did you?
Yeah, and I worked out.
What pace was that at? Define run.
Oh, right, wait, hold on. Let me see if
I think he meant run.
this.
I think he meant run his mouth. That's the only thing.
No. I run every morning, or just about every morning. I have a personal trainer because I am so good at real estate that I can afford a personal trainer.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the difference between you and I. With that ugly tie that you're wearing.
See, well, like I said, I wanted to make you feel like you were in your prime back in the 70s again, so I wore this tie that I picked up from the Smithsonian. But you know what's actually even funnier? The funniest thing is I laughed all the way here, and
thinking about what?
I was laughing. The fact that you thought you even had a chance in this battle today, you know?
All right, so here it is. Here's the post. So just so you know, if you go to Jeff VanNote's page, this is what he writes. He writes, the real estate market is going to crash. The real estate bubble is going to pop. The two most uneducated statements and predictions that are so completely false and out of line. I'd love to get 20 people that truly think to do a true Q&A with me so I could shut down every single reason and prove based on facts why that's inaccurate and not happening. Who's setting this up? So, of course, I immediately responded.
By immediately, you mean 15 hours later, but go ahead.
Well, I immediately responded after I read it.
Okay.
It's only fair. I mean, I have no idea who you are. We weren't even friends on Facebook until this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw it, which I don't even know how, I think it got reposted by somebody
Ruben
else.
Acosta.
Oh, is that what happened? Yep. That's where I saw it. Okay. All right. So we decided, and you can actually see it because we didn't even talk to each other until this moment, right?
Yeah.
So we actually we decided on Facebook that we were going to do a little debate on this. So let's start first of all. I got to introduce my guest.
Notice I came here to kick your ass, though, right? I showed up on your turf, even so you had no excuses.
So today, debating, and you need to understand that this is debating was what he thinks he's going to do. He thinks he's going to debate me, right? And how this is going to work? I can't even believe that he thinks he could win this debate. But let's find out how smart this guy really is. All right. Anyway, so. Debating today will be Jeff VanNote of VanNote Performance Academy versus me, Larry Steinhouse, CEO of Investor Schooling. By the way, I will give you some props. Jeff is a successful real estate agent trainer, teaching real estate agents how to make more money selling real estate. He's also the author of the book, The Mortgage Playbook for Millennials.
And I wrote my second book this year, The Realtor's Cookbook as well, which is a fun cookbook menu on how to get more business. So,
That's awesome, man. Yeah. All right, cool. So I, Larry Steinhouse,
wrote the Bible. What else you got, Jesus?
He was there when it was written.
I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. I teach and train real estate investors how to make passive income and get big checks from wholesaling fix and flips. I also have been training real estate agents on how to make more money selling real estate. I'm also the author of 3 books. The first one is If I Won $25 Million in the Lottery. The second one is 12 Practices Real Estate Agents Should Be Doing, and I'll bet you're not. You should read that book. You might be able to learn something, teach your guys on it, right? And I also co-authored the book with my partner Phil Falcone called How We Quit Our Jobs, Got Rich, and Found Financial Freedom with Real Estate and Stock Options Investing. And of course, you guys know I have my new book coming out called Money Hacks, because everything you think you know about money is wrong. And this is going to prove it right here. So let's get at it right now. When do you think the real estate market is going to crash?
As of right now, I would say 2029. I think we have, to go through this current presidency, which our president might not make it, as you all know. And 2024, I hear
At least I like your policy.
word on the street is and verified source that Trump is running again. I actually know the person that's helping him run. He's actually a client of mine, believe it or not. He also manages Tony Robbins, Pitbull, and other very well-known people. So it's a very reliable source. But I see problems coming. I see them kicking the can down the road for the next 8 years, 7.5 years. So I think 2029, 100 years from the last real market crash as an anniversary.
So you've been in this business for 13 years, right?
So I entered the business
when you were 20.
I was very young. My dad's been in the mortgage
20.
business since the late 70s.
You
but
were 20.
December 2007.
You were 20.
I was 20.
You were 20.
Yeah, 20. So
In
I showed up.
2007.
I wanted to go buy a house in the Bronx.
Right.
I was playing college football, and I said, if I could rent out each room for $600 a month, I have no credit, I have no income, I have no money. I'm 20 years old. I'm playing college football. I want to buy this house and basically live rent free and collect, money. So after the college season ended, we lost to Victor Cruz in UMass. I drove an hour out of the way out of the Bronx, with my little Garmin navigation system. And I showed up into this office in the other side of town, and I was like, hey, I'm here to, buy this house on Crotona Avenue. And the lady was like, that house ain't for sale. I'm like, there's a for sale sign on it. So what do you mean it's not for sale, She's like, honey, that's a short sale. And I'm like, ooh, right over my head. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I do mortgages, so if you need anything, let me know, because I want them to take me serious.
Sure.
And they were like, oh, we actually have 2 leads for you. We haven't seen a mortgage guy in months around here. This is as the market was like literally about to hit rock bottom.
Yeah. 2007, 8, sure.
So she literally handed me 2 clients. Obviously, they didn't qualify because no one qualified for a regular conventional or FHA mortgage in December 2007 because no one had income or a job or credit. And I was like, wow, is this easy to get business? And then 3 months later, I got cut from my college football team. It was sad. It was a rebuilding year. I thought I was going to go and get playing time and start. And I showed up, the day before our spring game. My coach was like, you're cut. So I was kind of like lost. And here I am, 14 years later.
So this whole story is about you and football and getting a house and
well, see,
that's it.
Seems
That's all you want to talk about.
It seems like you chose to get into the business 40 years ago when you showed up with your tulips to buy your 40 acres or whatever you got, right? Me personally, I showed up to try and buy a house and be an entrepreneur. And I fell into the business and realized, an opportunity at age 20.
So my first house was a 2-family house that I bought when I was 18 years old. I bought a 2-family house.
What year was this?
It was 1980.
2000.
No, sorry, 1982
BC.
or 3. 1983, I believe it was. 1983.
Okay.
I believe it was.
Interest rates were what, 17%?
No, they weren't that bad. Actually, it's funny because if you want to get into this conversation, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It was about 13%.
Okay.
And then it was actually an adjustable rate,
Yep.
which was nuts.
Most were
and it
back
went
then.
down to 9% before I sold the building.
Wow.
But the really stupid part about the building was I actually sold the building 1 year later. I made 50% of my money, and that was one of the stupidest mistakes I ever made.
Should have kept it.
Should have kept it. That building would be worth, I don't know, probably 10 times what
Where
what
was
I paid
it?
for it. It was actually in Easton, Pennsylvania.
Easton, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it would have been worth 10 times what I paid for it, and the rents alone would probably be somewhere near $2,500 a month right now, and I would have owned it.
Wow.
So that would
you
have
would
been
have
nice
had it
too.
paid off 200 times.
Yeah,
realistically.
exactly. Sure.
Interesting.
But right around the time that you were getting into business, you're not going to believe what happened to me.
What, you were retired?
I actually went bankrupt. I went bankrupt in
Most
2008.
of the great ones did and do.
Well, thank you for calling me the great one. I appreciate that.
Congratulations for actually bouncing back. A lot of people were able to bounce back.
Yeah, well, that was, and I actually had plans. I actually wrote a book. My book, if I won $25 million in the lottery, was all about the plan on how I was going to come back. And if you ever want to read that book, it's kind of cool because I did everything I did on it.
Listen, I know you probably want me to give you the $4 or $5, whatever you charge on Amazon for it, but I want a signed copy before I leave here today.
I don't even have them anymore. Honestly, I don't even have them anymore. It's like it's one of those things where I wrote it. I wrote it in 2009. I might have one copy lying around if I could even try to find it.
Did it start off like on the back of a napkin?
No, it didn't start. It started with a plan to write it.
Gotcha.
And then I wrote. That was the first one I wrote. Then we wrote a couple others. But all right, look. You're being way too nice to me now.
Well, actually, I genuinely care about people.
Is that what you do? You be nice and then you go for the throat.
I can't just come in here and bring your house down.
Because if you're going to do that, this is going to become. This is just not going to become what I expected it to be, which was a complete debate, complete argument. So I have been through 4 real estate crashes.
Okay.
How many crashes have you been through? Oh, none.
Debatable, but go ahead.
No, not debatable. When we through a real estate crash.
Let's see. I was born in '86, so early '90s. You had
So
01
while you were
to
in
03,
kindergarten,
2008.
while you were in kindergarten, you considered that going through the real estate crash?
I mean, indirectly.
Well, I could add
think,
2 more then.
I think every single person, whether you're alive, whether you go through it directly or indirectly, you're collateral damage to any type of collapse or crash. So yes, I think again to some capacity, yes.
Well,
correct.
did you find that tie in that? In
I
the
picked
first
this
crash?
up for you. I wanted
the
to make
first
you
crash?
feel like you were 20 years old again. Borrowing at 13%.
Well, when I was 20 years old, people wore ties like that.
I know. Well, I'm old
Now
school.
nobody wears
Well,
ties
because
anymore.
no one's professional anymore. That's the reason
Well,
why.
I
Cat's got your tongue. You hear that one?
I actually want to agree with that, but I don't know how to agree with it because I don't know if it's the right thing to do. So, like, in other words, so if everybody's going around in sports shirts now, what should you do? Should you wear a tie?
I usually go against the grain. I also like picking my battles and picking where I stand out.
I used to wear a suit to school.
Did you really?
High school. Just because I
All
wanted
boys
to.
school?
No, just because I wanted to.
Interesting.
I used to every first Monday. Every Monday of the week, I would wear a suit to school because I knew I was different. But now I'm so different that
Siblings or only child?
No, I had 2 younger brothers. Yeah.
So you want to stand out, lead by example?
No, it was just I wanted to do it.
Okay.
Because I knew I was going to be successful and knew I was going to be wearing great jackets later on.
Fair.
You saw my jackets, right?
I saw the money jacket.
Yeah, the money jacket. You haven't seen all of them.
No, I only saw
have
the one money
2
jacket.
dozen of them. In fact, if I'm telling you right now, if you actually show up, I know we talked about this before. If you actually before you came in, we talked about the fact that I'm having an event this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3-day event. If you go to Your Piece of the Good Life, you could show up. I have a new. I know, me too, and I came to see a fight too. This guy's too damn nice. But I have a new outfit I'm going to wear. So
Listen,
let's get it.
I'm luring
Let's
you
go.
in right now. I'm luring you in.
Let's
I'm
go.
finessing you.
We can't be nice anymore. I'm tired of this crap. Let's go. We're going to go right at it. Right at it. Here we go. So let's start right away with you. You said 2029?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
I've been called crazy by
In 2029,
men
that's the beginning
and
of the
women before.
That's the beginning of the next recovery. So I remember that you said in your Facebook post that you were going to state facts.
Mm-hmm.
State facts that comes up with that number.
It's my own theory based on active engagement with consumers from all different demographics and in markets. So I believe
you asked the 12 people that you do business with if you thought the market was going to come down. They gave you these numbers, and this is what you came up with?
Well, I stopped counting at 10 because I got shoes on. So once I hit 10, I stopped counting how many it was. But look, there's a lot of new people that have no exposure into real estate that are sitting on a lot of wealth, whether it's stock market made, whether it's inheritance, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's a new business, whether it's people scam the PPP or EIDL, right? A lot of people are sitting on a lot of money unexpectedly.
That's the problem. That's the beginning of the crash.
So what I have seen recently is a lot of new uneducated speculative money entering the market, but they're still coming in with real down payments. Also, I think the key statistic is theoretically 10% of every home transaction was bought all cash. If you look at the history, that's about where the number is, about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so it averages out to 10. That number over the past couple of years has skyrocketed to over 25%. So 1 out of every 4 homes is purchased all cash. Whether it's people, making money selling tax-free and then buying it all cash and downsizing, whatever the case might be, that's still a real number. So from an overall mass standpoint of over-leverage, very few people are over-leveraged. And I did write in my book in 2017, the next crash is going to be ugly, but individuals are going to get their clocks cleaned and wiped out. But the overall market is overall safe, and lending has never been stronger. The borrower's never been more qualified, and the debt-to-income ratio has never been lower, and the credit score has never been higher in the history of America from a lending standpoint. So when you factor in all those statistics...
That's all the reasons why the market's going to crash soon.
Okay.
Everything you just said is all the reasons the market's going to crash soon. So do you remember this event? I know you were still holding your rattle at the time.
Mm-hmm.
9/11 when
I stopped at CVS over here to pick up some Depends for you in case you shit yourself, but they were all out. They said that you were in there earlier. They said you were some old guy raided the store earlier.
So you think the best way to win this debate is just interrupt my train of thought, huh? Well, just because I'm old, I still can remember what I was saying.
Go ahead.
Pedro, what the hell was I saying? So you know that event 9/11,
Yeah.
when you had your rattle and
I was a
didn't
freshman.
quite
It was my
know-
first day of freshman year in high
and
school.
didn't quite know what was going on.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly right. So 9/11 was actually the reason for the crash of 2008.
Debatable.
Now let me give you that scenario and what really happened. And Ian, I see Ian's watching this, and Ian will appreciate this as well. So real estate and the market goes in cycles. Are you familiar with these cycles?
Yep.
What have you been told they are? How many years?
Well, we're way past. We're 5 years past.
Oh, I know.
It
They're
all
typically
depends. Yeah, it's the longest bull run in the history of real estate.
Actually, you're not. I'm going to tell you why you're not. You think we're not at that cycle. So what's the normal cycle? 7 years? Will you agree?
I can't argue that.
Yeah.
I have no proof.
It's normally 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
And you think that we're past that cycle? We're right at the end of the cycle, because what was the bottom of real estate? It wasn't 2008.
2011 or 12.
Yeah. So
When
what is
Dodd-Frank
it? So
came
let's
about.
add right. So let's add 8 years to that, and we're right around 2020, 2021, right? So normally, and this is basically, let me go back to what happened in 9/11, and then I'll explain why that's so relevant where we are right now, and why the real estate market did not crash, and it should have. What basically happened in 9/11 was the market was tanking. So again, I know you had no concept of what was going on at that time, and I mean that sincerely. I don't just mean it to bust your balls, although it's fun to bust your balls. You really didn't know. I had a couple of businesses at that point, and I watched the economy changing. It's actually the very beginning of this signal was about a year before that point where I watched the economy changing, which, by the way, looks just like now. So it looks just like now. However, what happened was normally the economy would have just normally went in its normal cycle, and it would have went down because it was at the top of the cycle. 7 years before was the bottom of the cycle. The cycle was starting to come down, just normal. Then all of a sudden it's 9/11, and it destroyed everything. I mean, not just the buildings. It destroyed the stock market. It destroyed the economy.
Consumer sentiment, all of it.
Yep, and the governments flooded the country with money to keep a recession from happening.
Yep.
Now, that cycle never happened. So it started to downturn, and it went right back up, and it hit the next cycle, which was when? 2008.
Okay.
So we had to live through a double cycle in 2008 because we never lived through the cycle that was supposed to happen in 2001. That's why it was so bad. What just happened a year ago?
We just printed all the money.
Yep. COVID came.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually worse than 9/11.
Multiples worse.
Right. And the money that came in, and you mentioned it, the PPP loans, the EIDL loans, the $600 or the, not $600.
Free unemployment.
Yeah, the free unemployment,
yep.
$600 a week.
Yep.
All of these things created problems. Now, your post, I'm going to tell you something about your post. Your post didn't exactly say that people think that that guys like me think that.
You mean old guys like you, or
no,
like
guys
like you?
Guys contrary to your opinion.
Oh, gotcha. Just wanted to clear that up for everybody listening. Old guys like me. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys like me, contrary to your opinion, you didn't actually say, I don't actually believe it's going to come crashing in next year. That's not what I believe. I believe the real crash, the really, really bad, will be 25, 26 for the same reason. Because we are sitting right now at 2002. If you follow the calendar, we're at 2002 right now, back then, and it's coming. So it's going to come a little bit ahead. It's not going to be 2008. It's going to be I'm sorry, not 2028. It's going to be 2025 to 2026. We do have time. The market, the real estate market, is probably not going to go up much more from here. It'll go up, but it's not going to go up much more.
Goldman
from here.
came out and said 16% from here. So let me backtrack. So
sure.
I don't disagree with what you're saying from a time standpoint. I think that variable or that asterisk is how much more government intervention do we see? About 4 months ago, I was at a Yankee game, and I was talking to all these, new non-QM gurus that, the ones that were out in 2008. They were, sitting on their mother's couch for the past decade. Now they're back in, right? Now they're the account reps and executives, back to being know-it-alls, printing money. And they're like, yeah, well, Goldman Sachs. I'm like, okay. My best friend works for Goldman Sachs. He literally works in the partners coverage group, right? I have full free reign to get any department in Goldman Sachs whenever I want, right? Like, so I have full access as if I'm a $60 million account holder at Goldman Sachs.
So you could walk into a building?
100%.
And that makes you special?
Anyway, for those that don't know, the definition of a hater is portrayed right here. So, because he's just mad because he's never been invited to Goldman Sachs, clearly. But anyway.
No, when I owned a computer consulting company, I used to be in there all the time.
The last time he was in New York City was like 9/11, so I don't want to hear that. But anyway, so with this standpoint, Goldman Sachs is the largest backer of non-QM debt, and that shocked me. That blew my top off, if you will. And then they come out And for 4 months, I was speculating why, and then they come out and put this article out that we see real estate in the next 12 months running another 16%. So I thought, okay, non-QM 25% down, 717 credit score on average, market running 16%. They have a 41% gap or protection, if you want to call it, right? So, the 75% leverage today is going to be, call it 60% or 59%, not including the pay down over that time frame as well. So that's why they're backing this, because they're bullish on real estate. The difference between 9/11, 2008, and today are banks are that much more well capitalized. The consumer's that much more well capitalized. Your what is that phrase? Dinosaur generation, unfortunately, is not okay with keeping money in checking and savings accounts any longer. Savings accounts are paying less than 1%, the majority of them, unless you're in like an ultra high yield with a certain preferred, banking relationship, where people aren't keeping money in the bank. They're making speculative investments, buying assets, thus driving asset prices up. So, yes, when the rates were at 5%, 6%, inflation.
It's called inflation.
Yeah, I just answered that. You're going to repeat my answer? You can't ask a question and answer it after I answer it. I just answered it.
But, you started out nice, and now you're being rude.
Well, because you cut me off. But anyway, so let me finish my statement. So now, if you have that, yes, inflation is real, but people are also not going to accept having money in the bank not earning them money. So whether you were speculating in cryptocurrency or the stocks or covered calls, I can't tell you how many people right now, uneducated people, are like, oh, I'm making 10% every 60 to 90 days on covered calls. I'm like, you understand it takes one sharp downturn and you lose everything,
Well, you don't, but okay.
A lot.
You lose the stock anyway, but I'm not going to get into stock. But okay, so
but my
let
point,
me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. When was the last time that you were aware, and I mean aware, of inflation like this?
Never.
Exactly.
Yeah, never.
So I have been aware of inflation like this 3 times. And every time it had the same outcome. And the outcome was it crashes. The market crashes, housing crashes, the stock market crashes. When I say crash, I don't mean like 29 crash. I mean like, we're going to have a correction.
30 to 40% correction.
Well, I don't even know about that. But my prediction of where the stock market's going to level off at will be about 28,000. That's pretty far from here. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to go from 35,000.
18%.
It's like, yeah, fine. It's not going to go from 35,000 to 28,000 overnight. It's going to be a slow turn. And then it's going to be 2-3 years at the 28,000. Maybe if we get lucky, it'll stay in that range, but it may even drop a little bit more before it goes back up. Because that's when we said 2029 is going to be probably the beginning of the reset, where it's going to start going back up. And I'm going to be really happy because at that point, I'm going to be retired and you're going to have to work hard.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not here to discuss, speculation or hypotheticals at this point. But what I do believe is the stock market hits 40,000 before it hits 28,000. And again, there's so much sideline capital, sideline money, what Biden's doing with the inheritance, dropping it down, estate planning.
Okay, so
people are going to actually.
So you do know that was pulled.
Did they pull it? So again, I have not followed it. Yeah,
because I pay attention to these things.
Well, it's more applicable to you.
That's my business.
Right. Do you have children?
I do have children.
How old?
But I don't really care. I don't. So no, I mean, no.
You don't care about your children, or you don't care about?
No, I don't. I don't plan on leaving my children anything.
Really? So that's what your belief is?
No,
it's old school.
Well, let me clarify this, because I don't plan on leaving my kids anything. I do know that I'm going to die one day, and there's going to be a whole bunch of money, and they're going to get it. Gotcha. But I don't plan on leaving them anything. I plan on keep making money until the last day I die, and then when I do die, it gets, some goes to my wife, some goes to my kids, whatever, or my grandkids or whatever.
Do you have grandkids yet?
I have one grandchild.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, thanks, man. No comment on that one.
No, I think that's a great thing. I can't. I'm enjoying my 3-year-old son, but I can only imagine the feeling of being a grandfather. Cool. It's probably the most rewarding thing out there, more than any money you can make.
You're getting nice again. Don't get nice.
Well, again, I'm a real human deep down. Listen,
Ian's going to be upset.
I'm going to hit you as hard as I can, but we can get up and shake hands.
All right, we can do that? Okay, because, And if not, I'll take this out.
Did you record yourself getting your ass kicked? That's what it sounds like on that thing. Did he record that? Tell us the truth out there. So, but back to your point. So, in your opinion, right?
Sure.
Tell me how the supply and demand right now in the market is ever going to run out. Because on average, in hot markets, now you're going to have pockets that are going to be depressed always, and obviously speculative, inflative, uneducated money flying in. That's fine. I get you're always going to have that. But in the big cities, mostly urban areas, controlled more in the investor market, if you have 25 buyers for every one property, you're not going to automatically catch up. But you're not going to have 24 sellers make that up.
And you also know, as well as I do, that that's slowing down a little bit. It's not. I don't mean it's slowing down. It's not slowing down to a point where it's dangerous. It's not.
It's slowing down because okay, this house just sold for 400. The same house next door sold for 450, 500, and then people are like, wait. This house last year just sold for 400. This house is not worth 600,000. So the seller's overpricing it, assuming the 10%, 10% year month over month return. It's not real.
What? Are they going to sell it or not?
No, they're going to drop back down to really what it's worth, 550.
That's exactly what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, but but you can't do that because if it's 400,000 last year and now it sells for 550, you're still up 30+%. What I will tell you is you're not going from 400 to 450 to 500 to 550 down to 525. You're setting that baseline. Whatever that last sale is, the house reciprocal is not going to sell less than that unless it needs repairs.
So let's talk about a house today that sold for $500,000 yesterday, right?
Okay.
And it sold for $500,000 yesterday.
Yep.
Will it go up to $550 before it starts to come down? Probably. But where's it going to go? I can tell you, it's not going to go. It's not like it's going to go way below 500. It'll probably go
495,
475.
No, that's a 10% drop. That's a 5% drop.
It's fine. I'm just, fine. That's fine. It's not it's not going to be like the end of the world. It's just like every other Ponzi scheme. The last guy in who paid the most is going to have to wait, just like they waited from 2007. They had to wait till sometime last year
to get even,
to catch up, to get even.
Yep.
But if they're living in the house, it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter long term.
But if you're a real estate investor, it might matter. Now, as a real estate investor, one of the things I do is I don't care about the price of the property. I care about the income from the property.
So you look at cash flow.
Yeah, I'm all about cash flow because cash is not king. I don't care what anybody's ever told you. Cash flow is king.
I get it.
Right, so I don't even care how much my properties are worth. I don't care how much I owe.
Right, whether you're negative or positive, as long as you're cash flow and cash on cash return, that's what makes the most amount of sense.
All I care about is how much cash flow they bring me. And I don't even cash on cash return. Most of the time, my cash on cash return is infinite because
you have nothing in the game.
No skin in the game. I either borrow 100% or more on every property I buy. I know you can't figure that out because you're a mortgage broker, and we have to unlearn all those things that they do in mortgage brokers. And I mean that with any mortgage broker. Look at that face.
I'm just going to listen. Again, yeah. I've learned to pick and choose battles, so I'm just waiting. I'm waiting.
Well, when you're ready, we're going to teach you how to invest in real estate without your money and without banks.
I have a lot of people that probably would want to hear that. I'm also a believer of no skin in the game, easy to walk away. I watched it happen. I watched people.
So what?
What do you mean? So what?
So if you're the investor, what do you care?
Okay. Again, we could agree to disagree on that. If it works for you, great.
I personally would not want to ever, but what that's the best part about if you're an investor and you have no skin in the game and you make a bad choice and you walk away.
I get it.
Don't misunderstand me. I don't want to screw the people I would owe money to or that put up the money.
You have a lot of that goes on in the market.
I would never want to do that.
Right.
But still, why wouldn't that be an incentive for the average investor? Again, my reputation is too good. I would not let that happen. In fact,
unfortunately, not a lot of people have pride or experience like you, where I'm giving an example of what I see more often than not. They're going to the person that trusts and confides in them, and they're raising the equity, and they have no plan to get out. They have no exit strategy. They're hoping and wishing, and they're gambling with somebody else's actually hard-earned money that they're either looking to create a passive income stream for, bet on that person that they're giving the money to, or need that money for retirement, right? And that's what I don't stand for, right? So I 100% agree that if you do it the right way with the right people, morals, values, and ethics and all that stuff factor in, everyone makes bad picks. Part of nature, part of the game. Should happen. Things go wrong. Things take more time than expected. Everyone's blindsided in real estate. Again, what I don't stand for, just to be clear, is the person that has terrible credit, that's borrowing the equity, maximizing the debt, not making the debt payments, and then looking to get everyone to have a haircut and then make a profit from it. That's what I don't stand for.
I agree.
That's more coming from pride.
You can't screw people. You have to be honest. And bad things can still happen.
Of course.
But of course you have to go through it.
And again, look, shit goes wrong. What I've learned early on in life, at probably age 24, was, hey, listen, Larry, this deal went wrong. I didn't account for this. I made a mistake. Here's how I'm going to correct it. Your average person is going to respect that and say, okay, let's overcome this.
Absolutely.
It's when you beat around the bush and you tell them 5 years later, oh, by the way, that money I said I was going to renovate the house with, see this new car I got?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And that's unfortunately more common. I had a guy, this is actually a funny story, I had a guy randomly reach out to me on Instagram saying, hey, I just did this deal, blah, 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 whatever. completely different circle refers me this client who's like, yeah, I got 8 properties. He shows up in like this $140,000 convertible, young kid too, probably like in the time he was like 25, 26. I was like 30, whatever. But I've been in business for a decade. So like when I say young kid, he was a young kid. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, it's because he's got no job. Like, what's going on here? And just by pure coincidence, this guy gave this kid money, and the kid used the money that he put into a flip, never paid the taxes, never paid the PSE&G, and used the money to buy a car.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I don't want to talk about those guys. They drive me nuts. I couldn't.
But there's more of them than the good ones, unfortunately.
Well, no, I don't even know if that's true either. I think that's a bad opinion.
At least
that you have.
up in North Jersey area.
Oh, maybe, but that's a bad opinion that you have because like I know some of the people which is funny because after I looked at your Facebook page, we're connected to a lot of people.
I'm sure.
Is again how I got connected.
Yeah.
But most of the people. So there's a difference between the guy who is an intentional. I'm going to screw
fraud.
you.
Yeah.
Intentional fraud, and the guy who just is green. So like when they come to our school, they learn how to not be green. They learn how to talk to people, and we actually guide them through it. It's funny. I have people who in our school they want to lend other investors money, and I'm like, show me the deal first.
Right. Let me underwrite it.
Right. It's not even underwrite. It's just kind of because I don't want to say underwrite it.
Eyeball it.
Yeah, but just a 50-foot overview or even a 10-foot overview of what the deal looks like. Is it make sense and will it make sense? In fact, we have on our paperwork that gives a confession of judgment that says if I borrowed money from you and I missed 3 payments, the property's yours.
That in New Jersey, they did away with it. There's no more confession of judgment allowed. You might want to check updated laws.
You can still put it in the paperwork. It may not be legal.
Enforceable.
Yeah, it may not be enforceable.
I learned the hard way. I lent an NFL player 180 grand, never made a payment, and we're still chasing him. Luckily, he just got signed by a team. But again, so like I get all that, all those level of protection.
But didn't you have a mortgage on the property?
No, it was against his NFL contract.
Get the hell out of here.
And he got cut.
So you should have came to investor schooling and would have told you how to not make that mistake.
We're not sports guys. So
you would have had to. I don't care. You would have had.
It's all right. We're accruing at 2% compounded interest a month. We're fine. We'll be all right.
Yeah, as long as the guy really does get his job and you can.
No, he got re-signed.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Cool.
Now it's just being filed judgment and everything else. But we had a confession of judgment, and Jersey doesn't honor it now.
So he basically said sorry. He had an attorney.
Come find me. No attorney. Just come find me.
Wow.
But again, like, look, I agree with you. You have to protect yourself, but people also have to. I'll give you an example. We have a deal. Another real estate deal, back deal, borrower never paid. I'm out $6,000. Not that it's a lot, but I'm out $6,000 in legal fees. And again, granted, we're compounding interest at 2% per month. You still have to pay that, like as a lender, because I manage about $1 million of our own money for bridge financing, short term, whatever, right? Like gap, whatever it is. Like if I believe in you, I'm doing the same thing. And here's our number. If you want it, great. You have no other option, whatever, right? I believe in second chances for people. I deal in a lot of urban areas where people aren't either awarded second chances or they're just not part of the banking system, so they're not recognized to borrow conventionally or private money. And what I've learned is like anything. I could tell instantly when I meet someone whether someone's a gentleman and honorable or not, or the opposite, right? But from a lending standpoint, we're lending real money. We're not borrowing money to lend money. We're lending our own capital and my investors' capital. So like my number one goal is to protect that capital at all costs. But sometimes there comes a cost in addition to protect that capital, and no one sees that side of it.
All right, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm a big fan of funds. We have a couple of them going on as well. We have another fund coming out. I can't talk about it because I'm advertising, and I don't want to talk about that right now. So I totally get it. I totally understand it. Actually, you're a pretty cool guy. You're just you're just green. Because if you think it's going to go to 2029, you're definitely green.
I could tell you it's going to 2029. I'm sitting here confidently going to say that.
I'll tell you what. You ready? All right. What kind of money should we bet on this? Ian, what kind of money should we bet on this? Who's right? If 2026, we drop 15% from here, I win.
15% from here. But under what metrics or standards are you going? But I'm not talking about the stock market.
Who cares?
No, let's have a real number. Let's have a real number.
Come out, give me a neighborhood. Give me a Jersey neighborhood. I'll even let you do it.
Pick 5 properties today. I guarantee that in 2029, it's not 15% less from where we are today.
Okay. Well, we'll have to pick 5 properties. I can't do that right now.
Okay.
I mean, it would take me.
We'll give everybody a list of those 5 properties.
All right. So Ian says 10 grand.
Okay.
All right, 10 grand.
Putting it up. Tell him to put it up.
No, I'm betting you, man. You're putting it up.
You want 10 grand saying, so here's what we're going to do.
So if at 2026 I'm right, 10 grand. If at 2029 you're right, I'll give you 10 grand.
Deal. So we have to look at 5 properties today. I think we should segment it out. For example, I'm just talking out loud. Let's pick a property in Brooklyn, property in Jersey City or Hoboken, property central New Jersey, property in southern New Jersey, and one here in, is this Pennsylvania? Where are we?
We're right outside of Philadelphia.
Like, all I know is I lost cell phone service for a minute.
All I know is Normally, I like New York better than Philadelphia. I don't like either of them now. I mean, how the hell
Too liberal?
What?
Too liberal?
Well, too liberal and too crimey.
I heard crime in Philly is disgusting right now.
Yeah, same with New
Like,
York.
to a point
It's
where
unbelievable. 450 murders or something. I don't know.
no one's even talking about it.
Yeah, no, they're talking about it. They're talking about the conservative radio stations, like the radio station that I'm on.
Gotcha.
I could tell you're a conservative, but you still have a lot to learn because you're still immature.
I mean, again, neither here nor there. Look, what I've learned is old people often like to take shots at younger guys because, like, deep down, look, you could have all the money in the world, but you'll never get to be 34 again. So I get it. I can understand where you're coming from. But I also...
So the cool part is when you're 57 or 58, I'm going to be soon, like me, you're going to realize...
58 or 68?
58.
So, okay.
Yeah, because I bought my first property when I was 18.
Interesting. So you were born in what?
November.
63?
63, yeah.
63.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. So real quick, why don't you tell everybody how they can reach you, what the hell you do, because we never even talked about that, and how.
Yeah, it's not really important what I do. You know, I can tell you is I'm an expert.
Well, that's pretty obvious. It's not important what you do because you don't even know how to do it.
Again, you know, I pick and choose my battles. What I could tell you is I finance every single type of real estate asset. One of our main objectives this year, you know, is really helping people with the forbearances. You know, there's a lot of ugly stuff coming down the road.
We didn't mention that. Real quick, we didn't mention that. So do you think that the forbearances are going to be a problem for the owners of real estate?
I know they're going to be a problem for owners of real estate. One, and I wrote an article. I'll forward it to you so you can see. I wrote it in like March or April of 2020, right when COVID first happened, forecasting. And I actually forecasted a lot of ugly and pain points coming in March of 2022 for the individual, not for the market. Let me give you a perfect example. This is true story. I just came off the phone with a client now. Guy messaged me on Facebook. Hey, my mom's in forbearance. Whole story. She got flooded and she has no electric in her house. She's 60 years old. Her husband's 58. They're both disabled. They bring in a total income of $2,500 a month. Right, $2,500 a month total. Sure. So she gets the insurance payout, but because she was in forbearance, Mr. Cooper kept 100% of the insurance funds. They won't release a penny. The son has no money to help her. This is God's honest true story. I literally just got off the phone when I was sitting in your parking lot outside. I couldn't move. I had to hold the phone like this because I knew I was going to lose service if I sneezed or anything. So I had to stay still.
Well, it's not my fault. You have cheap, the cheap plane of Verizon.
You guys don't have AT&T down here. You have like Moo something.
We have Verizon, the best. we can afford Verizon. AT&T is too cheap.
Here's the story. So listen to this. So they were like, "Oh, you have a forbearance. Your payment's $1,000 a month now," which again, that's a 40% nut into $2,500. Let's call it. They're like, you have to pay $1,700 a month, or you're going into foreclosure. Meanwhile, she has $30,000 of repairs. Her mortgage is only $31,000. They won't work with her, and she's screwed. She's like, I have no refrigerator, I have no electricity, I have no heat in my house. Hey, I lost my roof.
I'm a little confused here. Okay, so there was a $100,000 payout from the insurance. Is that correct?
$30,000.
Oh, $30,000. Yeah. Okay, so they don't want to pay. Okay, so they don't want to fix the house for the. They don't. You can't fix the house for $30,000 from what you're telling me.
No. They can. They need the money to make the repairs.
But Mr. Cooper is supposed to release that money to.
They said make the repairs first, and then we'll do it. And she's
they're out of their freaking minds.
I'm telling you for a fact.
I'm hoping that these people have an attorney and they do something about this.
Well, I'm working on it. I just spoke to Emily for the first time today. Here's what I'll also tell you. On the forbearance, I had another guy, a real estate guy in Jersey City, owns 3 properties. Okay, in forbearance, 15 months. Hey, I want to cash out. I want to cash out of this mixed use. I want to buy another property. I'm like, well, you have an active forbearance. Like, you got to pay the capital current. I have to run a rapid rescore to get the forbearance off, so there's no history of it. Well, what am I going to do? So part of our strategy for the next quarter in our bridge fund is, okay, we'll lend you a second lien position on your investment property only. You have to use those funds to pay that forbearance current, and then I'll do the cash out refinance, and then it'll be like it never happened. But not a lot of people took advantage of the forbearances on investment properties. Most of them took advantage on the primary residence. So
these are the people. What do you think is going to happen to them? The normal person who just anywhere from 6 months to 18 months didn't pay their mortgage payment. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen to them in the next 3 or 4 months?
Banks are not interested in taking the properties. That's number one.
That's for sure.
I deal with every servicer, especially Mr. Cooper. So 70% of the forbearances that I've seen, and it might just be a demographic thing where I am, New York City, New Jersey, Bergen, Hudson County, are all with Mr. Cooper.
Because they were Nation Store and Citibank, that's why. Because Citibank had them all, and Citibank sold them to Norton.
And Nation Star had a big settlement, big class action settlement, right? So they have a lot of exposure there. That's number one.
Right.
And again, as we all know, the consumer isn't going to do what's right. They're going to do what they think is right.
Well, the consumer always does what they think is right. That's like my book coming out because money
tough.
hacks because everything you think you know about money is wrong.
Yeah.
So, but do you think problem for the people who are in forbearance?
It's going to be a problem for the individual. It's
Why?
not going to be
Why?
a problem for the market.
Why do you think it's gonna be a problem?
Never going to be able to get out.
So it's not that. So remember that all they have to do is start paying again. So if they were paying $2,000
A higher payment, though.
well, maybe it'll be $2,200, maybe it'll be $2,400, or maybe the bank and some of the banks
Put it on
are
the
saying
back
we're just
end.
going to put it in the back end.
Very few.
Right. Okay.
Very few residential banks are putting it on the back end.
But here, even if and here's my opinion, even if they leave the payment the same,
Mm-hmm.
you now have people who were living for 6 to 18 months
Free.
without paying mortgage payments, and they got adjusted to that.
New style of life.
Right. Which, oh wow, look at this! I'm going to go buy a car.
They're your
Oh, look
next.
at this.
They're your next renter.
Right. And that's the problem. That's what's going to happen. That's where and those properties are going to be there for the taking.
So
It's
my,
gonna be
my
great,
advice to
but
all
it's
of
gonna
them,
be slow.
my advice to all of them is, hey, look, you got two options. I'm just going to be very candid with
Mm-hmm.
you, right? Bite the bullet, figure out a way to catch up. I'm sure everyone's got a rich uncle or a rich cousin or a rich child. Someone knows somebody with money where they can catch up where it's still within reach. If it gets much further out of reach, there's no catching up. Second thing is, sell the property. You're tax free if it's your primary. If you're single, up to $250.
Right.
If you have for 2 out of the 5 years, up to $500. If you're married, take that money, downsize, or rent a nice place for yourself, and get your finances back in order.
But it's my home. I live there.
Larry, I had a conversation for about 2 weeks straight now with a lady who went through a divorce.
Right.
You know, she's negative based on her alimony, child support, and income. Payments $9,000 a month. Taxes are $3,300 a month. And I'm like, you don't afford it. She's like, but I love this house. I'm
Right.
like, you don't afford it. Sell it and take the $700,000 of equity out. Yeah, but I don't then want to buy a new house all cash. I want to raise my 2 kids here. I go, I'm pretty sure your kids wouldn't mind downsizing, still having their own house where you have no $9,000 a month payment and they don't get foreclosure notices in the mail. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
it's more embarrassing. Hey, what happened to Johnny and Joey's house? You know, the problem with residential real estate, as we all know, which is different from commercial, is people are 100% emotionally involved and attached. And I understand
Right.
that. On commercial, it's strictly, you know, what's your cash flow, what's your DSCR, how much money am I making, how can I get my money out, and how can I maximize my profit. So, yes, you have a lot of people that don't listen, that are in denial, think they know everything. And I just hope if anybody that's listening or if you know somebody in this scenario, you get the God's honest truth. And again, what I'm telling you might not be what you want to hear, but it's the best advice in your interest. And hopefully people will make that right decision. Otherwise, again, it's not going to be 2008 or anything like it ever again. But
it's going to
people's lives will be
It's
ruined.
going to be 2008 or worse.
Yeah.
But not for a while. Right
8
around, like I
years.
said.
8
Yeah, well,
years.
okay, you can go that way. I'll go just a little bit closer. I'm saying 3.
Listen, the only thing
that's the
the only thing I
difference.
request is that when you pay me in 8 years, I just want to make sure those are crisp hundreds at the time,
Of
or
course.
I accept Bitcoin. So
Bitcoin.
you let me know.
What do you think Bitcoin's going to be worth in 2026?
Probably 250, 300, if not
Wait.
more.
100 or 1,000?
250,000. Yeah,
Oh,
250,
okay,
300.
okay.
Yeah. Up north.
I really don't know. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. I'm studying it. We're
Yeah.
doing classes
It's
on it soon.
interesting.
I'm fascinated by it, and I mean, it's just amazing to me. But anyway,
It's kind of like the Airbnb market. I
Right.
don't like markets that can be immediately flipped on and flipped off based on government regulation or intervention. You know,
sure.
so like at least today if you have $5, you could buy a Reese's and a bottle of water. And you could use it.
When I was a kid,
5 cents.
no, it wasn't that low, but yeah, but it'd be about $1 for a Reese's and a bottle of water, and you get change back.
crazy.
Actually, I remember a commercial from McDonald's. You get a hamburger, fries, and a Coke for less than $1.
You look like a McDonald's guy. Still,
Shut up.
you're a Big Mac,
No.
Burger King. You're kind of like the Hamburglar.
Well, wait, you'll see. It'll take its toll on you.
Tell me a little bit about your real estate investing.
Just wait until you
For anybody-
wake up one
for anybody
night
that's-
and you can't pee in the middle of the night, and you get up 5 times. You wait. It's going to happen to you too.
Your trainer doesn't work on that with you? You have a personal trainer. Okay,
My trainer doesn't work on my peeing. No.
you need your refund from him and
No,
anybody
no,
that goes to your
that's
school.
The urologist works on that. In case you don't know what a urologist is
Not yet.
but you
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
You will.
Give me
I
about,
promise
give me
you,
about,
you will.
Give me about 23 years to catch up.
You do know why I'm wearing the hat, right?
Why?
Because there's a camera back here. Right, that camera back there.
Bald spot?
Yeah, I have this big ball spot.
get it.
So there's camera
I
back
get
there, so I have to wear the hat.
Let me ask you a question. How do you maintain, this is more like guidance now for everyone listening. How do you maintain your youth and your humor in a very serious, blindsiding industry.
Who says I was funny?
Well, if you listen to the audio message I sent Ruben when I first saw your reply and he didn't reply, it was, I'm about to go to Pennsylvania right now. You might have to come pick me up, too. All right, I can fuck with this guy, you know? And then Eric Sturkin texted me, and Eric Sturkin was like, yo, that's my guy. Tell him I said, hello, crazy. You guys are going to get along great. You guys are straight shooters, you know? You guys both have personality. Nothing's personal, and it's all in good fun.
Who said it's not personal?
Well, look, if you take it personal...
Listen,
you
man.
might not sleep tonight, but I'm going to sleep like a baby because I know I came to your turf and I held my own, you know?
Yeah, you did a good job, man. Actually, it was a lot of fun. I forgot where we were. You wanted me to talk about school? So, investor schooling. So in case there's anybody on your side watching, investor schooling is a place where you can come and you can learn all about real estate. You can learn about money. So we don't just teach real estate. We don't just teach stock options, although some people think that's all we do. We teach money. We teach tax advantages. We teach people how to buy. Did you know you can buy a house? First of all, you probably know this. Did you know you could buy a house or an investment property in your IRA?
Yes, you can, if it allows it, I believe, right? It has to be self-directed?
It's self-directed, correct. Yeah. And we teach you how to get a self-directed IRA and how to buy it in your IRA.
Smart.
But do you know what an HSA is?
HSA, no.
So it's a health savings account. And this is the coolest
That's
thing.
That's how you contribute tax-free, right?
It's almost like another IRA, but it's specifically used for health benefits.
Every day, yeah.
Right. You can actually buy a house in your HSA if you know how.
Huh.
It's something that.
Does the interest dividend have to go back into that account, or can it be kicked out?
And then when it's a minimum of 5 years or age 65, you could pull out all the money. You pay tax. It's like a traditional IRA, not a Roth IRA.
Sure.
You can also buy houses in your Roth IRA and never pay taxes, which is kind of cool. And if you know Biden, when his craziness is trying to change some of the rules,
nuts.
We talk about the rules all the time, and we also talk about how to get past the rules, how to use the rules to your advantage. Well, how to use the rules to your advantage.
Right.
I mean, so are you independent?
Independent, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I'm curious. Are you on Obamacare?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't
have health insurance, actually.
All right.
I actually don't believe in health insurance.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a lesson. Go on the marketplace right now and get it.
Interesting. Okay.
And I did an entire class on this. And anybody watching, reach out to me. I don't have a lot of time to explain the whole thing to you. But Obamacare, believe
guys,
it or
make
not,
sure you either hit him up on his pager or send that fax now. He might be able to reply by tomorrow around 5 p.m. So just get that first in line.
If you want to get my pager number, go to contactlarry.com. Contactlarry.com. It's that simple. Contactlarry.com, and you'll get my pager number. Now you'll also be able to connect to me. But I'll talk to you offline about Obamacare. Cool. And it happens to be, once again, these liberals, they try to solve this person's problem, but the small businessman like you, like myself, the greatest thing that's ever happened to them is Obamacare.
I heard that's great coverage.
If you know how to use it, and
right.
It's not the coverage. So Obamacare. So one thing you need to know is Obamacare is not coverage. It's not health insurance. It's a set of rules that health insurance companies have to work by.
Huh.
All right. So. And if you know how to take advantage of these rules, which I teach all the
sure.
time, I don't know what it is. I just like to figure out rules and try to figure out the loopholes in the rules.
It's a puzzle. You like the challenge.
Right. Because you got to understand, who wrote these rules?
Not us.
No, but who wrote them?
Very smart people.
Very rich people.
Huh. Okay.
Right? So
Fair.
these very rich people are writing rules to eliminate
tax liability.
Rich people.
Yeah.
They know how, right? They know how to take advantage of them.
Gotcha.
All you have to do is learn it. Now, they're not going to teach you. You're going to have to learn how to do it.
Sure.
But it's really a lot of fun if you want to learn how to do it. And if you want to go to investor schooling, or if you want to just go to investorschooling.com. You could come this Thursday to a free class. Or if you want to reach out to me, go to contactlarry.com. Please tell my audience about you.
Yeah, so if anybody runs into a financing snag ever or wants a true, honest approach up front, I'm your guy. If you're buying that property with all investors' money, you have no money in the game, but you hit a good deal and, the ARV, the new value is higher, we offer short-term rental loans now, which are great. So if you're Airbnb or verboing the property, no rental history required, 640 credit score. We do everything from mixed use to single families. I don't get too much involved in the fix and flip game because it's too saturated, too competitive. From a earnings standpoint, we do deals all the way up to $50 million. I work with a couple of REITs, a couple of different funds. We have our own fund. I deal with almost every big commercial lending institution. True story, had a past client call me up last night, needed $11,800 he forgot to pay taxes on a property that he had no mortgage on, and he got a bill saying, he probably had it, but I found out about it last night, if you don't have the money in certified funds here. So we lent him $11,800. Like, what are you going to make on that? A couple $100?
Right.
I spent 4 hours of my day today coordinating because I was all the way up in White Plains. I had to come down here, have my partner go take care of it. But your lender, your relationship person you're dealing with is not going to cut you a check for $11,800 so you could not, lose your property to tax sale. Just last week, I funded a deal in Newark, no appraisal, 585 credit score. Vacant property needed rehabbing. We cut the guy a check for $70,000. Recorded the first mortgage lien. Collected 6 months of interest up front. So I like to do. Like I said, I really believe in second chances, and I believe people with the right guidance and leadership can navigate themselves to success. I also believe that again, shit goes wrong, and if there's a way to get you out of that shit going wrong situation, I'm going to be the guy to help navigate that path. It might not be comfortable, it might be uneasy. But you're gonna get an honest approach from me. My job is to get your deal done in the path of least resistance in the most cost-effective manner.
Cool.
So,
all right, how can people reach you?
Yeah, you can contact me on Instagram at Jeff VanNote Senior
what's that?
SR. Yeah, it's for another episode. I'm really excited you're on Facebook. Your generation just got on Facebook yesterday? No wonder why you replied this morning. I was probably on the top of your feed and your friend list. I have a podcast. It's called Deposit That, which I invited you to.
Sure.
It's recorded on Broadway in New York City. It's about entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I also interrupted you. Tell us your website because.
Go to jeffvannote.com.
Jeffvannote.com. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
VanNote.
Yeah, but I'm more active on social media, again, like Instagram, Facebook. I like telling stories and giving posts and giving experience. I think my main purpose in life is really to motivate and inspire people. It doesn't matter where you are today. If you want to get somewhere, let's create that plan and work backwards. But without a plan, you're kind of just getting lost in the sauce. So surround yourself with good people with experience. In this market right now, everyone's made money, everyone's a guru. If you haven't made money, then there's something wrong. So when the market does turn, all the people that were just taking cherry picking, unfortunately they're going to have to get back to learning how to hunt, kill, and eat. I believe. Obviously, commissions are going to be reduced, margin compression's real, interest rates may rise for a little bit. But I do believe that people need to surround themselves with experienced investors. 40 years, if you can find a mentor 40 years, they've been there, they know things that will, hopefully narrow the duration of the time where you are now to success. Again, somebody that's made quick money over the past couple of years, everyone's pretty much made money over the past couple of years. So I think, a testament to you. I'm proud of you for still being in the game 40 years later. I'm sure you've had some burnt out moments and had some tough times.
Absolutely.
But I really admire the fact that you did bounce back from 2008, you landed on your feet, and then you soared even higher. So from my perspective, I respect the hell out of that.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It was an honor to meet you, actually. And now I can't make fun of you anymore because you're too nice.
I mean, I told you I was getting ooh, you got him good. And meanwhile, I'm like, we're secretly messing behind the scenes, talking shit to each other.
I mean, no, we're not. We weren't. It was everything you guys saw online was real.
Yeah.
It was just. But now I meet the guy, and he's too nice of a guy.
Wait, so real question though, is it Jim Cramer or Kramer? Tell the truth. Or a hybrid of both. You're their child. If you were to produce,
I don't know. I like the compliment of being like Jim Cramer. There's no doubt, right? But Kramer. So I was trying to figure out where you were trying to go with there. The Jim Cramer part.
If you merge them together, if they had a child, you're it.
I'm okay with that, by the way. But I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand where the other Kramer.
The looks.
Okay.
Yeah, the looks.
But he has a lot more hair than I did.
Yeah, but you could put two and two together.
All right. Well, I liked it. I thought it was great. So if you haven't seen it, go on Facebook, take a look at it. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks you all for watching. If you want, contact Larry and contactlarry.com, and it's jeffvannote.com.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much.